If you've ever wondered why you can't just do better when you know better, you're not lacking discipline. Your body is wired to survive, and your energy field is wired to respond to messages from your body. In this video, we're going to talk about Systems North Star and how you can begin using your natural compass to begin actually doing better. Why did I put those quotes in? Because there's a little bit of self-shame in the idea that you need to do better. And oftentimes I feel like it's a way to punish people for feeling what they're feeling and reacting to things that oftentimes are situations and circumstances that many people wouldn't be able to react any better than you are right now. So recognize sometimes that even some of those phrases that we use are inherently a way to inflict victim blaming and self-shame. And when I say, if you know better, you do better, when I mean and say better, what I mean is better for you, what you want to be doing, the direction that you want to be going in. So recognize what I'm saying when I'm saying do better. Without further ado, let's get into this. My name is Tony. I'm the trauma doula. I'm a somatic guide and energy healer. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. So, share is your compass. Your nervous systems is fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. But I have a little bit of a different way of looking at the nervous system responses as a compass, a guide, if you will. And everyone has a North Star, and everyone's North Star is going to be different because it's based on who? You, okay? So the compass that your nervous system is following is a set path and skills that supported your survival till now. These are all normal and natural reactions and responses to stress. Whether that stress be a catastrophic event, you had a flat tire when you need to get to work, but then sometimes that can be catastrophic if you don't get to work, right? You could spiral. Some people are one paycheck away from not having a home. So never underestimate the response and say, well, it's just a flat tire. Sometimes it's not. And recognize again that there's a lot of ways that we diminish and dismiss events that seem small that may not be small at all. Okay. So anyway, let's talk about the compass, your north, south, east, west, so to speak, of your somatic nervous system's compass. We know about the fight response, but the thing that I want you to understand is how you act in the world when you are in these responses. And something we don't talk about enough is functional flight. We talk about functional freeze, but not functional flight. If you're stuck in functional flight, you are fighting to live. You're fighting to breathe every day. Your breath might be this shallow little barely there breath, but you are trying to live and breathe another day. So the tension in your shoulders, in your jaw, in your neck, in your hips begin to build up with the responsibilities and flashes of anger and frustration. This is functional flight. Often functional flight comes out in these ways that we don't expect. It comes out in this overworking or this inability to sit still. And it might be from, you might not be able to sit still because there's a feeling of anxiety or whatever in your body, but functional flight comes out when you are unable to sit still just for a moment, because whatever's there is going to catch up to you. Whatever's in that stillness, you're not prepared to sit with it at this time. And that's okay. There's a lot there. We don't want to rush it, okay? But when you're stuck in functional flight, you might find that you work to the point of exhaustion, and then you might not even be able to sleep. You may find that you hop from job to job, location to location, relationship to relationship. This movement, it's almost erratic and it doesn't quite make sense, but as long as you don't stop, it's fine. That's functional flight. And that is a part of the overall compass of your nervous system. It's a perfect ability to keep moving, right? That's the positive side, to keep moving, to keep going, to keep striving, because you are fighting, in a sense, to stay alive, to survive. And ultimately, the goal of the person stuck in functional flight is to thrive. And yet, their very thriving comes from coming into stillness, coming into the thing that they're running away from and facing it head on. At a certain point in time, with the right resources, with the right support, right? This isn't like a turn around and sit down and make it happen, right? That's fight. When you gotta turn around, take a stand, and that anger that's there, it's like, you've crossed my boundaries, and now I'm ready to stand and do what one does when someone has crossed your boundaries. And again, normal, natural response of a healthily functioning nervous system is to have some fight in you. Everybody needs a little bit of fight. If you didn't, you just lay down. And we don't want that. We talk a lot about functional freeze. Okay, that one, you see it all over social media. Everybody's talking about functional freeze. But the freeze response, I think, and this is just my musings and thoughts about these holding patterns, because eventually your compass can get stuck in any of these places. That's when we start to call it functional, because you're functioning in flight, you're functioning in fight, you're functioning in freeze states, right? The compass gets stuck and now you're going to freeze over and over again instead of the compass being able to move around, because you need all of these responses. There's not a need to get stuck in one. You need all of them in your life for different times and different moments, right? That's a functioning nervous system, not this like stuck in one. Anyhow, functional freeze, I feel like, gets confused for functional fawn response, okay? So when you freeze up. That might be stage fright, where you freeze up, you're like, oh my God, all these people are here. Or often find functional freeze is you're not able to make changes, good or bad. And you kind of get stuck in the routine of the habits that you've created. And you're not able to veer off those habits. And there's often this feeling of there's nothing I can do, there's nothing I can do, there's nothing I can do. That learned helplessness is oftentimes a functional freeze response. And you might find yourself scrolling on your phone, just the endless scroll, because there's nothing you can do. You might as well scroll, watching TV endlessly. There's nothing you can do. You might as well watch TV, because it's activating some parts of your brain a little bit, but also somewhat disassociating from head and body, because you're frozen, right? There's nothing you can do. That's the feeling of functional freeze. And I often feel like functional freeze gets mixed up with functional fawn response. So the fawn response is pretend everything's fine. And there's a sense of over optimism to the point of bypassing that you're just going along to get along. You're just pretending that it's all okay, even when it's not, even when you're falling apart, even when every single thing is off. You're gonna pretend like everything is okay. And again, that's a suppression response. Suppress, put on the face. That's the fawn response, and I think a lot more of us are in that than anything else. And that one is probably the least talked about part of the compass of our nervous system. And which one of these do you feel is showing up for you the most in this moment? Which place do you feel like your compass is stuck in at this moment, if any at all? And again, you can comment down below or like the video to let people know that you are maybe in a place or just to show support. Sometimes seeing those extra likes and somebody goes, yeah, me too, is really important and powerful for healing, is coming together in community and saying, yeah, like I went through that too, or I'm going through that right now. So what is the North Star of your nervous system? If your compass is pointing to fight, flight, freeze, fawn, then what's your North Star? Well, your North Star is attunement. But anyway, and that is attuning to the person you are right now, in this moment, rather than the person that you think you should be, the person that you feel like you should be. I should, right? You're shoulding all over yourself. Attuning to who you are and how you feel and how you are being right now, without judging it, without trying to make it any different. That is one of the best spiritual healing practices that you can participate in this moment. It's just, this is what it is. I'm scrolling for 6 hours, and that's just what it is. That's just what I'm doing. I'm maybe in a functional freeze. I'm maybe in a functional fawn. So recognizing and attuning to where you are right now. Because when you can't see yourself, you will make up things to destroy yourself. Self-sabotage is one of the greatest tools that your nervous system has to keep you safe. Because if nothing changes, then you should be safe. Those holding patterns, or being stuck in these patterns of functional freeze, functional flight, they were the thing that kept you safe when you felt your most unsafe. And now training your nervous system to come out of that is going to take care, not pushing, not shaming. If shaming worked, it'd work by now. It would have worked. We're like a shame-based society. It would have worked. You don't need more information. I say as I make this video, you need attunement. And truly, you do. And sometimes there's some information that hits you in your body. And I hope that this can be a place for you to start. But pausing the video, pausing the phone, putting it down, or just taking a moment and being like, okay, what response am I living in right now? That's it. That is the space of learning what your energy is doing right now, rather than what your mind thinks you're doing. Your mind will have you in a daydream thinking you're running a marathon, when really you're just watching someone on Instagram run a marathon. And you're thinking about maybe doing a marathon too, so you're gonna watch 10 hours of videos about people doing marathons, and you'll never actually do it. And again, these are the coping mechanisms, these are the skills. It's a skill that kept you safe. And now you're recognizing potentially that you're in one of these modes and you're ready to come out. And that's a cool place to be in, but if you can't see yourself, you will destroy yourself. Because sabotage is the best tool that the nervous system has to keep you safe. I said that again because it is really important. Attuning is where the head and the heart meet. It's the place in between. And I don't mean that literally, obviously. I mean that energetically. Attuning is where your head and your heart truly meet, and you can come to a place and meet yourself where you are right now. And the moment your body feels met by you, it will begin to soften. Something will begin to shift. Even if it's just a tiny, teeny little bit. A tiny, teeny little bit is daily, is change. And if you want support with this, my links are in the first comment for consultations. One of the best ways to help this kind of work spread is to share with 2 of your friends and leave me a comment. Let me know if you felt something with this video, or if you want other topics, other things to talk about. Okay, bye.